All right. Welcome one and all to the City of Learning tutorial on how to issue badges and use the City of Learning Pittsburgh admin platform. The Google Hangouts app says that I can run this live Hangout for up to 8 hours, but hopefully we won't have to go that long. To start out, I'm going to share my screen. Great. So here is the City Learning Admin platform. First things first, you need to make sure that you can log in. If you do not have a login account, ask someone you work with who might have one. If not, ask me. Send me an email at tim@sproutfund.org to make sure that you have your login account set up. In order to get your login account set up, you should receive an email with an activation link, which will allow you to set a password. So be sure to watch out for that email or find the one that you may have already gotten by searching for City of Learning in your email inbox. Once you have your login account, you can go to pghcityoflearning.org/admin to log in. You do not want to log into pghcityoflearning.org, the main site. That's just for students. So you should see this login screen, enter your email and your password, and then click the login button to get to your dashboard. Once you're on your dashboard, you'll see 4 main things: the programs in the top left, the members of your organization in the top right, your badges in the bottom left, and the students who have been rostered to your programs in the bottom right. In previous tutorials and in-person trainings, we've gone through a lot of the detail on how to create programs, as well as how to schedule activities for each of those programs. So we will not go through that today. Rather, today we will focus more primarily on how to roster students and issue badges to those students. So first things first, before you can roster students or issue badges, you have to have a program and an event already created. And so, especially if you're a larger organization, like the Learn and Earn Collaborative, which I'll show you very quickly. The Learn and Earn Collaborative has a lot of different sites operating. And if you want to issue badges or roster students to a particular site within your larger organization, I recommend that you create a new program. So for Learn and Earn, in this example, you would go and you would create a specific program for each of the sites so that you can separate and segment the students for each site. So note that they already have one for the Neighborhood Learning Alliance and the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation, so on and so forth. Let me go back over here to the Sprout Fund. Oh, and I see we have some viewers now. If you're a viewer, please open up the chat with the blue chat box in the top left of the Google Hangout and say hi in the chat. While you're doing that, I'm going to continue. Also use the chat to ask any questions or ask for clarification per any issues that you're having or details that you're interested in. So yeah, first things first, obviously, is to have your programs and activities already created. But once that's done, there are 2 main parts to issuing badges to students. The first part, in the sort of section here on the bottom right, is to roster students to a program, basically saying this student or this group of students is signed up for and participating in a program. You can do that individually by clicking the Add Student button and adding students sort of one at a time with their name, choosing the exact event you want to roster them in, their birth date, and then their email address. If you roster a student who has not previously created an account at pghcitylearning.org using the login button there, then whenever you roster them, it will send them an email to tell them, you know, hey, congratulations for signing up for this program as part of City of Learning. Confirm your participation by creating an account. So basically, if they haven't already created an account via the sign up button on pghcitylearning.org, when you roster them, it will send them an email prompting them to do that. So that's adding a student individually. And again, you can add students who have already been rostered by using the email or username that their existing account is associated with, or you can add students who have never been rostered by using their email address to send them a note prompting them to sign up. Whenever they get this note prompting them to sign up, saying, hey, we just rostered you, it will provide them with a link that will pre-populate a claim code so that when they sign up, it automatically rosters them. In some cases, a student, if the link is not working for them, they might have to enter the claim code in manually. The claim code will be in the sort of sign up email they receive after you roster them. For many of our organizations, the individual add student button is a little slow. So in that case, we would suggest the add multiple students button being a better option. And so again, here you choose the specific activity that you want to roster them in, and then you choose an Excel file from your Finder or your desktop to upload. This part is very specific and very important. You'll see at the top of the page, there is some information that says, be sure to upload an Excel spreadsheet with the student data listed in this example. The word example is hyperlinked there to download an Excel sheet, which I'll do right now. Ta-da! So you'll see at the bottom, there's this Excel sheet. Whenever you're uploading students, you have to upload them in the exact format of the Excel sheet example. It's very simple. All you really need are students' first name, last name, associated email address, and birth date, or username. So yeah, when you do that, all you have to do then is choose a file that is based on that example spreadsheet and then submit it. And again, making sure to choose the exact event that you want to roster students in. Similar to the individual student rostering, the multiple student rostering will do the same thing, right? So if a student already has signed up for an account, it will just roster them immediately. If a student has not signed up for an account on pg@cityoflearning.org, then it will still roster them, but it will tell them to claim their account by sending them that verification email. And so again, when you roster students, right, you're rostering them to one program. So if later you want to roster the same student but to a different program, you would just go through that process again and roster them to an additional program. So this part is very important because unless a student is listed as participating in a program, you cannot issue them a badge, right? So first say, hey, I'm showing up this program, I'm participating, and then secondly, you can actually award them a badge. So in Sprout Fund, for the digital core, as an example, we have this fun badge called Circuits, Building, and Robots, oh my. And for that badge, I will show you what it looks like to issue. In order to issue a badge, once you have the students you want to issue to rostered to the program, right? That's the key first part. Have a program, roster students to it, and then you can issue the badge. So you click the drop down next to the badge on the arrow there to the left. And then you will click the award badge button that is next to the specific event that you want to award the badge to, right? So it's possible that you might have multiple events that you want to award the badge to. but you would do those one at a time. Again, so that you can segment between different programs and organizations. Again, I'll go back to the Learn and Earn Collaborative page, just as an example here. There's this badge, New Hire, which is recently created. And you'll see the BGC Learn and Earn activity listed there. But the NLA program, right, is not listed yet. So what will need to happen in this case is that the NLA Learn and Earn program, they still need to schedule that program. So they need to schedule at least one activity for it so that it can be associated with the badge. So the BGC Learn and Earn, they have already scheduled an activity that is called the same thing as the larger program, BGC Learn and Earn, with a start and an end date. So they've scheduled it, right? So scheduling is important so that you can associate it with a badge, right? So if you want to award a badge where you're like, oh my gosh, my activity that I want to award the badge to is not showing up, what you need to do is first make sure that that activity exists, right? So you have a scheduled workshop or an event associated with your program. And then you can go in and you can click the Edit Badge button. And you can go to the bottom and you'll see a list here of programs that are associated with the badge, as well as workshops or events that are associated with the badge. The BGC one is already clicked and listed as associated, but NLA Learn and Earn is currently missing. So since we want to award badges to the NLA Learn and Earn program, we first have to say that this badge is associated with that program. So we'll click NLA Learn and Earn to associate it, and we will update the badge. I'm getting some comments from people in my email who say they were just able to join. And again, if you're here, try and open up the chat in the top left of the Google Hangout in order to note who you are and if you have any questions. Cool. So again, once you have your students rostered, you'll go into the sort of badge issuing process, but you won't see your activity with an award badge button next to it unless, number one, you've created that activity, and number two, you have edited the badge to associate your activity with the badge, right? So you're saying this badge is for this activity, and then it will show up in the award badge list here. So we'll go back to the Sprout Fund because I don't want to award any fake badges to Learn and Earn participants. So back at the Sprout Fund, the Circuits Building and Robots Oh My badge. So we've edited it. We've associated it with the Digital Core Spring Party, and we're feeling pretty good about awarding some badges to participants of that program. So if we click the Award Badge button next to the Digital Core Spring Party, it will bring up a list of all of the students who have been rostered to that event. And again, this is just kind of a test case, right? So in Circuits Building and Robots Oh My, we saw that it was associated with the Digital Core Spring Party, and we're now trying to award it to people who are rostered to the Digital Core Spring Party event. And so in this case, there's just 3 sort of test people here that are rostered to the event. And in this case, you know, Tim Cook is one of the students, but he is kind of lazy and didn't do the work. And so we're not going to award him the badge. But Mr. Test is just brilliant and did a really good job. And again, the criteria here is listed at the top, right? Build a working circuit. And so Mr. Test has completed that. And so we'll click the checkbox here for required. And whenever there's required evidence, the idea is that you will upload some type of proof. And this is pretty basic. It could just be kind of a roster spreadsheet of everyone who participated. It could be a link to the description of your program, basically something that could show an outside party like, hey, this was a real event. There were real learning outcomes here, maybe some pictures or some proof or some details about what we did. So in this case, I think I'll just point to the Digital Core website. So that people want to see like, hey, you know, we held this event, they could go there and they could look at the event page where people built circuits at the party. There is one sort of bonus section here that you'll note in the bottom left called award to students not on this list. This is kind of a secret backdoor, right? So if you got all the way into the badge awarding screen, but you failed to roster a student to the program, or for some reason you thought you rostered them, but they weren't showing up in the student list, you could then add in an extra student manually, right? So if I was in the screen here and I forgot about, you know, Testerson at test.com, and I was like, oh, he did a really great job, I want to award him the badge as well, I don't see him in the list, you can manually add them here using either their email address or username. If you think they're an existing student who already has an account, you would click the Add Student button. If they are a student who does not have an account, but you would like to give them the badge and send them a claim code for the badge, then you would click the Register New Student button. So that's what we're going to do for Testerson. We will click Register New Student. So ideally, right, you have some of their information on hand so that you can fully register them. Brilliant. Student registered successfully. So Tess McTesterson has been registered, and we have added him to our list. So we'll click the checkbox, and then we will go through and award badge. Sometimes this can take a second depending on how the internet is feeling. Do not click the badge, award badge button multiple times. Great. Oh, interesting. So Mr. Test has already been awarded this badge, so we're not going to give it to him again. Whoops. But Tess McTesterson, who we just added, is brand new and has never earned the badge, and the badge has been successfully awarded to him. And then we can go back to the dashboard. Cool. So that is the quick overview. Does anyone have any questions? Again, open up the chat in the top left of the Google Hangout. There is a blue chat button. If you open that up, you can type in thoughts or questions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, so that must mean that I've brilliantly answered all of your questions during the presentation. If you have any follow-up, feel free to send me an email, tim@sproutfund.com. Oh, Marquise is wondering, how do we locate the chat? Marquise, the chat is in the top left of the Google Hangout screen. I'm gonna give everyone maybe a couple more seconds if you're having trouble finding the chat window. So yeah, if you scroll over to the left of the Google Hangout screen, there should be a toolbar with a bunch of icons in it. The icon at the top, which is a gray and blue sort of chat icon, if you click it, it will toggle on and off the chat in the right side of the screen. And I'm back on video. Here, maybe I can screen share just to point at the chat. Whoa. That's cool. Infinite mirrors. If you can see this, I'm not sure if the infinite mirroring is screwing everything up. But you'll see the blue icon on the left toggling on and off the chat. All right. Whoa, that was cool. All right, everyone. I'm going to stop the broadcast now. If you have any specific questions, feel free just to send me an email, since it sounds like some folks are struggling to use the chat feature. Hopefully, that quick run through of everything was useful. If you want to look at the recap, there will be a video of this posted on YouTube, which I will share out on the event page. Thanks.